Andrew Tate is one of the more vocal public figures when it comes to commenting on the state of Britain. Say what you will about him, and many do, but on certain issues, he raises questions that are difficult to dismiss. We've covered his commentary here before, and today is no different. What he said this time, however, is likely to provoke a strong reaction. Tate has gone on record criticising Englishmen who have flown out to the United States for the World Cup, and he's done so at a moment when the grooming gang inquiry has finally, and devastatingly, been blown wide open. His argument is blunt. The British public has got its priorities completely wrong. We're going to play that clip, break it down, and examine whether he has a point. But before we do, if you value serious political commentary, make sure you're subscribed.
I see hundreds of thousands of white men unified underneath a slogan with a common purpose at the World Cup. They won't save their countries. They won't stop the migration. They won't stop their daughters from getting raped. They won't stop any of that. But when there's a football game, they'll all get together and they'll chant and they'll scream and they'll jump up and down. It is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Bread and circuses. Even worse, if your countries weren't burning, cool, enjoy a football game. What are you supporting? What is England? What do you mean you're supporting England? England's done, bro. The little girls get raped. The entire country's falling apart. They're raising your taxes every day so that you can fund the invaders to come and replace you. You're held by a hostile government. There's not a single protest. There's not 5 people complaining about it outside Westminster. But there's hundreds of thousands who flew across the world to sit there and go, England, the football, the footy. I'm losing all respect for the white man at this point. I'm brown, so whatever. I'm fine. But you guys are losing your country and you ain't doing shit. Do you deserve it? It gets to a certain point of weakness where it's just like, okay, you deserve it. If you're going to give it away without resistance, then you deserve to lose it. If I leave my door open and leave all my money out on the floor, I deserve to get robbed. Like, why do any of you care about the football right now? Have you not seen the grooming gang inquiry? Like, do you give a shit at all? You can do a retweet, that's nice, but are you going to do anything that actually really matters, or are you just going to keep going to the football games? The Dutch are doing it, the Brits are doing it. I see all these countries which are literally falling apart in real time, standing around, and the native man, it's not foreigners, it's not migrants who are at the England game, it's not people who moved to England last generation at the England game. No, it's the native white man who should be home protecting his land, screaming and jumping up and down in a fucking stadium, distracted. All of his nationalism and patriotism has been hijacked, and he's distracted talking about a ball and a net. Wake up. What the fuck are you doing?
That's not going to sit well with everyone, but stripped of the noise, Tate makes some pointed and legitimate observations about the current state of affairs in the United Kingdom, and he doesn't stop there.
Got bad news for all you people who care about your country. The reason your country is enslaved is because most people deserve to be slaves, and you're surrounded by retards, and everyone else inside your country who's getting screwed over just as badly as you with the taxes and the immigration and all those terrible things that are happening, the breaking down infrastructure, all those bad things. They literally just deserve it, and they suck, and they don't care, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you tweet all day online, and you think that, you know, because you're tweeting and other people read your tweets that you're getting somewhere, but you're not, because then a new series of Love Island comes out, and they're like, oh my God, have you seen Love Island? Oh my God, some whore is gonna have sex with some fucking guy. And then they talk about it. That's what they talk about. They don't talk about the Epstein files or the rape gangs. They don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that 50% of the GDP is being stolen. They don't care about any of these things. On Twitter, you see a few people complain a little bit that we're in these wars, blowing up these countries for no reason and wasting billions of dollars. But when you leave Twitter and you talk to people on the ground, they're like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Love Island's on. So the reason your country is being completely raped is because the people inside of the country, by and large, are fucking retards, and you're surrounded by retards, and that's not going to change, and it's never going to get any better at all. So it's bad news for anyone who gives a shit about anything. You may as well just get as rich as possible, because everyone's fucking stupid. And then, like, women have opinions, and women talk, and most men are like, oh, a girl said something, guys. Let's listen to what the girl thinks, home. And then, you know, everything's fucked, because you should be ignoring everything women say all the time. But of course you're not allowed to say that, because women are people. It's just like so toast. The rape gang inquiry came out. Turn the radio off. The rape gang inquiry came out, and when I ask anybody anything about it off of the internet, they're just like, yeah, I think I heard something. And within 2 minutes, they're talking about the World Cup. It's worse than bread and circuses. It's like dildos. It's like, here's a bunch of dildos, and the men are like, yeah, I'll put them up my butt. And then they just sit there like, I'm distracted from the fact my country's getting raped because I got this free dildo and I'm having a fun time. If you expect anything to get any better ever, you're going to be very disappointed. It doesn't matter how many retweets something gets. Like, none of it matters. You can retweet all day. You can get likes all day. None of it matters. The best thing you can do is get as rich as possible and just avoid other people. And I don't mean like go hide in a forest somewhere. That's gay. I mean like just go to really, really exclusive high-end clubs where people can't afford to get in. Just go to the really nice places. Don't go to the tourist trap places. Don't go Santorini like a retard. Go to the island that's private. That's $250,000 a week. Just go there. And then you could be away from and most other people, especially blacks. But yeah, it's toast.
Now, there's plenty to unpack here, and to be fair, Tate's point about financial independence, while valid in principle, applies to a very small minority. Not everyone can generate that kind of wealth, and we should be honest about that. But that's not really the core of his argument, and it would be a mistake to get distracted by it. The more pressing issue is this: the grooming gang inquiry has surfaced details so disturbing, so deeply troubling, that they demand a sustained national response, and yet the outrage has been muted. The mainstream media has once again failed to hold that story with the gravity it deserves, and the result is that a scandal of enormous magnitude is already beginning to fade from public consciousness. That should concern every single person watching this. There is also a broader question here about the environment in which public dissent now operates. In Britain today, voicing certain opinions, particularly those that challenge the establishment narrative, carries real consequences. People have been arrested for social media posts, prosecuted for peaceful expression. That kind of climate does not encourage civic courage, it suppresses it. And when a government can effectively silence its critics through the threat of legal action, what you're left with is a public that is afraid to speak, let alone act. And then there is the distraction machine. This is something I've covered extensively. Keir Starmer's government has lurched from one scandal to the next, and the pattern is always the same. Something outrageous emerges, public anger builds, and then within days another story breaks and the previous one disappears entirely. It is a cycle that benefits those in power enormously, whether by design or by default. Consider the timeline of just the past few weeks. The grooming gang inquiry dominated the news. Before that, a man was nearly beheaded on a British street, and in between, a child was thrown into a crocodile enclosure, each story more shocking than the last, each one gone within a news cycle. That is not a functioning media landscape holding power to account. That is noise drowning out accountability. And so we arrive at the uncomfortable truth. A significant portion of the British public is still not fully awake to the scale of what is happening in this country. That is not a criticism of individuals. It is an observation about a system that is very deliberately engineered to keep people overwhelmed, distracted, and ultimately passive. Many are placing their faith in the ballot box. And while democratic participation matters, we should be clear-eyed about its limitations within a political class that has, across party lines, repeatedly failed the British people on the issues that matter most. On the football point specifically, I'd draw a distinction. The game itself at the institutional level has become deeply politicised in a left-wing direction. The broadcasting, the official messaging, the culture around the Premier League, it reflects a particular worldview, and it isn't subtle. That doesn't mean every fan in the stands holds those views, but the sport as an institution has been captured. And that context matters when we're talking about who is flying out to represent Britain at a World Cup, while the country burns through crisis after crisis back home. So where do you stand on what Tate has said? I want to hear your perspective. Drop it in the comments below.